The enemy within, the untold war of Ariv. In the heart of a bustling city, hidden behind the towering buildings and glowing lights, lived a man named Ariv. To the world, he was successful, a self-made entrepreneur, always dressed in tailored suits, shaking hands with clients, giving speeches, inspiring others. People admired him, envied him. Many even wished to trade lives with him. But no one knew the truth. Behind closed doors, Ariv lived in a war zone, not of bombs and bullets, but of thoughts. His greatest enemy didn't wear a face. It didn't have a name. It didn't come from the outside. It lived inside his own mind. Chapter 1: The Surface Life. Ariv's days looked perfect. He woke up at 5 a.m., worked out, drank green smoothies, and posted motivational quotes on his Instagram. His office was sleek. His staff respected him. His bank account was healthy. But inside, he was drowning. Every achievement triggered a new fear. What if I lose this? What if they find out I'm not as strong as I look? What if everything falls apart? He couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat in peace. He smiled in meetings and screamed inside. At night, when the city slept, his mind exploded with voices. You're not enough. They're only pretending to like you. She'll leave you like the others did. The louder the applause outside, the louder the doubt inside. He was the prisoner of an invisible enemy, his uncontrolled, overthinking, obsessive mind. Chapter 2: The Breaking Point. One evening, Ariv was alone in his luxury apartment, staring at the skyline. He held a glass of wine in one hand, his phone in the other. Dozens of messages blinked on the screen. Invitations, clients, friends. And yet, he felt a deep, crushing emptiness. He looked into the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back. The eyes were tired. The smile was gone. And the soul was begging for help. He finally whispered, "Why am I still so unhappy?" A single tear rolled down his cheek. For the first time in years, he didn't fight it. That night, he turned off his phone, shut down his laptop, and made a decision that changed everything. He packed a bag, left the apartment, and disappeared. Chapter 3: The Retreat. Ariv found an old meditation retreat in the mountains, far from city noise. No Wi-Fi. No phones. Just silence. Stillness. Simplicity. At first, it felt like torture. The voices in his head screamed louder without distractions. Memories, fears, regrets, all resurfaced like monsters long buried. He wanted to run, to escape. But something inside said, "Stay." And so, he stayed. He began each day in silence, observing his breath, watching his thoughts. At first, he tried to fight them. "Shut up," he'd yell internally. But that made them stronger. Until one day, a monk sat beside him and gently said, "Stop wrestling the waves. Just observe them. Let them rise. Let them pass. The ocean doesn't fear the storm. It waits." That sentence cracked something open in Ariv. Chapter 4: The Inner Revolution. He began to watch his thoughts like clouds in the sky. Fear would come. He'd say, "Hello, fear. I see you." Anger would come. He'd say, "I know you're hurting. Sit beside me." Doubt would come. He'd whisper, "I don't need you to protect me anymore." And slowly, the war began to end. He learned that thoughts are not facts. That the mind is like a wild horse, dangerous when untrained, powerful when guided. He saw how years of chasing success were really attempts to escape the fear of failure. How his need to be loved came from childhood rejection. How every loud voice in his head was just a scared version of him trying to survive. He didn't hate his mind anymore. He started healing it. Chapter 5: The Return. 3 months later, Arav returned to the city. But he was no longer the same man. He walked slower, breathed deeper, smiled more genuinely. He no longer needed to impress, no longer feared silence, no longer lived to be liked. People noticed the change. "You look different," his friends said. Calmer. Arav nodded. "I met someone during my break." "Who?" "My real self. The one buried under all the noise." Chapter 6: The Teachings. Arav began writing, speaking, not about money, not about hustle, but about the one battle everyone faces silently, the war with our own minds. He taught people how to sit in silence, how to recognize self-sabotaging thoughts, how to respond to their inner critic with compassion, not hate. He said things like, "You don't need to control every thought. You need to stop believing every thought. The mind is a storyteller. Not every story is true. You won't find peace by changing the world. You'll find it by calming the noise within." And people listened. Because he wasn't preaching, he was speaking from experience. Chapter 7: The Real Enemy. One evening, Arav stood in front of a crowd of young professionals. He asked them one question: "Who is your biggest enemy?" Some said failure. Some said heartbreak. Some said time. Some said poverty. He smiled and said, "Those are challenges. But your greatest enemy is the one who wears your face, uses your voice, and lives inside your head." He paused. "Your greatest enemy is your uncontrolled mind." The room fell silent. Because it will create fears that don't exist, convince you to chase things you don't need, and rob you of the present moment while you worry about the future or regret the past. He continued, "But the good news is, if your mind is your enemy today, it can become your greatest ally tomorrow. You just have to stop fighting it, and start training it." Final chapter: Peace. Today, Arav still works, still builds, still dreams. But he's no longer driven by fear. He begins each day with silence, ends it with gratitude. And no matter what chaos life throws at him, he never forgets. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of a calm mind in the middle of them. Because he's learned the greatest truth of all. The world can hurt you, but it's your own mind that will destroy you, unless you learn to master it. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Don't Give Up. Let's continue exploring life's challenges and insights together.